can do social media. It's a combination of everything, Rich. And if you wake up this morning and there's no expireds, can you set an appointment from expireds today?
No.
So that's not going to be it. The next group is your leads. The next group is the 30-day-old expireds. Then our past clients, then our sphere. And there's separate categories, past clients and sphere. It's like zebra and horses side by side. They look the same, but they're totally different animals. Then by owners. Then any leads you bought. It's just working down your priority list and not stopping until you get what, Dean?
Until you get an appointment or two.
Get an appointment.
All right, guys, welcome to another episode of the Phone Warriors podcast. We have the one and only Steve Powers. Steve, welcome to the show.
I'm so glad to be here. You guys are doing amazing things on the internet. Glad to be a small part of what you're doing here. It's a phenomenal product.
Well, thank you, Steve, for that endorsement. And, you know, one of the things that obviously that everyone wants to know is a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? Where did you sell real estate? And also, what are you doing now?
I no longer am active in real estate. I'm half owner of Watson Powers Coaching. I own a property management app. We specialize in property management companies as well. I own a prospecting company with my son, and we are growing Watson Powers Coaching, and we have a wonderful affiliation with the Phone Warriors doing training 8 times a month, 2 times a week. So I'm very excited about what we're doing.
Yeah, we are really excited about that as well. And I think, Steve, you know, one thing that I decided that we wanted to have you on here was because I think that you have so much knowledge around coaching agents for so many years. I mean, how long have you been coaching agents for now?
Going on 27 years. I think last time I calculated, I'm above 95,000 half-hour coaching calls.
Wow.
Okay. So what are like the 1 to 2 things that you feel like agents have always done? Like there's like a certain like same thing that they keep on doing that works, and over the years of all the technology, you know, disruptions and you name it, or what are some things also at the same time that you feel like agents don't do enough of in order to get the results that they're looking for in their work?
Well, let's go to the things that the common denominator of things that work. Mm-hmm. Number one, you got to have a plan. 1-year plan. We do 5-year plans, 5-year visions, 1-year plans, 90-day plans, 30-day plans, 7-day plans. Your plans have to be congruent to where you're trying to go. What you want to try to avoid, everybody, is that shiny object where someone knocks on your door and says, they're holding a broker open house with free lunch, let's go. And you decide that's the best use of your next 2 hours. So the number one thing that I see in all the great people that I coach is they have the discipline to look long-term but act short-term, to look 5 years ahead and act on a daily basis. One of the analogies I use, Rich, is if your son announced when he came home as a sophomore in college that he wanted to be a doctor, Rich, would you and your wife be really happy?
I'd be ecstatic.
It'd be wonderful. You'd be making it rain, paying for college. But here's the thing. Once they announce that I'm going to become a doctor, do the courses they have to take change?
Yes, absolutely.
No longer art histories and music appreciation and dance interpretation. They have to take biochemistry, advanced physiology, chemistry, etc. And they not only have to take these hard courses, they kind of got to get straight A's if they want to get into medical school. And then they go to medical school 2 years. And then 1 year of residence. And from the time they're a sophomore to the time they're cutting people open and saving lives, 5 years. It's 1,830 days, folks. You put time on task for 1,830 days, you can accomplish anything.
Wow. So what I hear you saying indirectly is putting the time in as a real estate agent to be able to become the best at your craft, learning yourself.
5 years, 1,830 days. You make it your craft to be the greatest real estate agent you could be for 1,830 days. You focus on that. You focus on your schedule, your prospecting, your adding to your database, taking care of customer service, the whole gambit. You're going to make more money than doctors make. I make more money than most doctors make, and I don't have their bills. So the number one thing is a discipline to stick in your long-term goal, Dean, but act daily on it. And that's hard to do.
Why do you feel like, I mean, all the hours of coaching that you've had, that it is so hard for agents to act daily on their goals? Like what is getting in their way that you feel like, man, if they just knew this one thing, that it would change their trajectory of how they go about their business on a daily basis?
Well, it's a loaded question, and the answer is simple, but it's loaded. We go to an American school system which teaches you to be compliant. Get in line, don't cut ahead. When you read and you finish, put your head down, let the other children catch up. And yet, if you look around my office, there's no one else working here. Nobody's writing me a check on Friday to work hard for 40 hours. So the reason why real estate pays so well is it requires self-discipline to do the job every hour, every minute, every day. With no boss, with no structure, it's so easy to choose other things to do during the day. And those who choose to do other things during the day don't make a lot of money, don't have a lot of sales. It's the discipline of self-governing, where your goals are more important than your sacrifices, that determine who's going to be successful in real estate.
So you would say that that's the pure definition to be a successful real estate agent is the delegation part of it, and the distractions part is keeping those two completely separate and just focus on yourself?
I think you're absolutely right. It's how do I delegate everything, meaning anything that's not the 4 Ps. And the 4 Ps that we always coach on are practice, prospecting, presenting either to buyers and sellers, and most of the time price reductions. Those 4 Ps should take up 80% of anybody's business day. If we were in pure sales, if you worked at a car company, they don't let you stand there in the car company and deal with this. They got $40 million worth of cars they need pushed. Get out there and meet the customers, get on the phone, bring the customers in, or they fire you. But in real estate, my gosh, if you don't do anything in real estate, they'll make you manager. That's what happens.
But Steve, I'm only a single agent. Like I can't do all this business and all this work by myself. What do you tell those agents?
Who told you couldn't do it by yourself?
Touche.
The thing is to understand that when you come into real estate, you got to look around the office. And the one guy or gal who's hardly there, who's in and out all the time and throwing deals up, is the one you want to follow. The one that's in their office all day long on their computer, popping one deal a month, you don't want to follow because they have a habit of filling the day. I want to talk to the guy or gal who I don't see much, who's always out in the field, who's always doing deals. Don't follow the ones in the office. They're not doing anything.
Success leaves clues, as they say, right?
Success leaves clues.
Now, Steve, you've been obviously one of the most sought out coaches, I think, in the industry that I've ever heard of. I mean, it's always been Steve Powers, Steve Powers, Steve Powers. And so one of the things that I think, I realize is that, but you just happen to be coaching or have coached up some of the biggest names in the real estate industry. What are they doing? I'm not going to say any names, but put it out there. What are they doing well that other agents should emulate, talking about the ones that are out of the office?
First of all, they listen to what we're telling them. When myself or Sydney or Gordon tells one of our clients, here's something we'd like you to do, we're not making this stuff up to keep you busy. This isn't a government job where you got to look busy. These are money-making activities. I coached this wonderful gentleman named Doug Manful, and he gave me permission to use his name. And Dean, you were at the Edge a couple weeks ago when I put up on the board. He sent me a text, $448,060. That was his commission checks paid on that Monday.
Wow.
Now, when I first started working with him, his average sales price was $550,000, $700,000. Now his average commission is $180,000 to $190,000 per, and he has lots of them. I have the easy job. I blow the whistle. He does all the running. He door knocks on $20 million houses. He goes to golf courses where people who own $20 million houses play golf. You have to be around the people that you're trying to list and sell. So as a coach, we work with some of the best people, some of the best teams in North America. And it's just a matter of here's something you need to do that's going to increase A, B, or C to get you to your goal. And they do it. Not with blinders on. They ask a lot of questions, and that's what we want. But we're here to help them. I coach this other guy, a wonderful guy named Alex Bradshaw. He's 24 years old. He spends the whole call calling me Mr. Powers, which is a little uncomfortable. However, he's real young. He's always doing a flip, always listing houses. I said, where do you live? He goes, I still live with my parents. Why? It saves me $30,000 a year, and I can apply that and do another flip. He's going to be worth $100 million when he's 50 years old. That's our plan, and we're on track. He is going to be worth $100 million, and that's what I'm trying to do. It's so exciting because they get it long term, but they act daily, and that's the key.
So what do you say? I mean, young kid putting in the work, putting all this time in, is going to be worth $100 million. But what do you say to that agent who, let's say, was maybe $100 million and it declined for whatever reason? So they were in a decline, in a rut for quite some time. How do you coach somebody out of that to be able to go back to the levels where they were? Or how do you keep the high producing agents stay productive? Because I feel like there's a lot of people out there who saw what 2022 to 2023 were, right?
Yep.
Came easy, and then all of a sudden now this year they're broke practically. Do you put them on a 90-day plan? What do you?
Now, what happens is we go back to a 5-year vision. I mean, you had a bad marriage, you had a bad broker, you had a bad relationship, you had a bad financial planner. All of these things happen. I have a wonderful client whose accountant skipped. Now he's in jail, didn't pay his taxes for 4 years. He paid the accountant. The accountant didn't pay his taxes.
Oh, wow.
He still owes the taxes, and it's $500,000 plus. And he's got to pay it. And he got devastated. It took a couple weeks. We worked through it. He's a strong individual. He's a really powerful guy. And basically we said, okay, we're back to zero. So where's our 5-year vision now? It's starting at zero and working a different 5-year plan. That's how life is, guys. It's not all peaches and cream. Shit. Stuff happens.
Yeah.
There's death, divorce, brokerages close down. It's not what happens to us. It's what we do when something happens to us. So, Rich, when somebody got kicked in the teeth, COVID was easy to sell everything. Oh, my God. If I just had houses, I could sell everything. Well, let's look at the boating industry. 2 years ago, 0% financing on a ski boat, $300,000. Now it's 12%. They got boats up the yang because nobody can buy them. 2 years ago, give me all the boats, I can sell them all. Now they can't sell any boats. Adapt or die. Adapt or die. This, and we were just talking prior to this call, Dean and I were, that this is going to be the easiest year and the most amount of work we've ever had to do. It is so easy to know what to do this year, and it is so much work. But what are our options? We just can't sit down and wait for something to change. The NAR, I think, reported less realtors now. Did you guys read that?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Almost to a person, every market I've tested, they've had the same number of closings March of 23 as they did March of 24. Give or take 1 or 2%. The same number of closings are happening, guys. We have less competition. So guys like us, guys and gals who know what they're doing, we're going to clean up this year. It's just a lot of work, and you got to know what to do.
That's a beautiful thing that you said that, because it's a perfect segue into what I want to ask you about, which is hunting for buffalo. Can you explain to the crowd that, because when you said this to me on one of our first coaching calls that we had together, I don't know what it was. I think I sent it to Rich. I was like, you got to listen to this guy talking about hunting buffalo. Can you explain to this audience, what does that mean? Why do you bring it up like that? Because you said it and it just dawned on me.
We go into real estate with a whole bunch of things we think it is. The NAR, our MLS, Habitat for Humanity, join the board of realtors, all that stuff. There's so many ways as a real estate agent we could be busy all day. And I remember saying to you, Dean, Your job is to take a rifle, leave the tribe, and go hunt and kill a buffalo. And don't come back to the tribe until you kill a buffalo. Because you don't come back after 3 hours and the whole tribe is sitting there. Hey, did you get a buffalo? No, but I hunted for 3 hours. But you didn't get a buffalo. Yes, but I did 3 hours, and 3 hours of hunting a buffalo is enough. But you didn't kill a buffalo. We didn't have anything to eat. How can you come back for quality time if you haven't brought back any food? The tribe doesn't need quality time with you, Dean. The tribe needs food. And in our case, food is appointments. Do not stop working until you set one qualified appointment a day. And one a day is 5 a week. You set 5 a week. How many will you go on?
3,
2 to
How many
3.
will you take?
2.
2 times 50 is 100 deals a year. Easy peasy. Get up in the morning, use the bathroom, wash your hands, and from that minute forward, I have to set a qualified appointment. Nothing else matters.
Now, the question is, I feel like a lot of people are going to ask now is, where are people getting these qualified appointments, right? Like, what sources are they calling? Because a lot of people stick to one, right? Call expires all day, call for sale by owners all day. Do you care what they're calling, or just call?
No, it's a combination of everything, Rich, because everything we do is different with everybody. We have people who don't use the phone at all, and they're socialized prospectors. They go to parties, golf courses, pickleball tournaments, they are in yacht clubs. There's so many ways to meet people. There's so many. You can call, you can door knock, you can go to socialization things, you can do social media. It's a combination of everything, Rich. And
Okay.
here's the key. If you wake up this morning and there's no expireds, can you set an appointment from expireds today?
No.
So that's not going to be it. The next group is your leads. The next group is the 30-day-old expireds. Then our past clients, then our sphere, and there's separate categories, past clients and sphere. It's like zebra and horses side by side. They look the same, but they're totally different animals. Then by owners, then any leads you bought. It's just working down your priority list and not stopping until you get what, Dean?
Until you get an appointment or
Get an
2.
appointment. And if you don't get an appointment and I'm coaching you at 8 o'clock at night, you have to text me no qualified appointment, and you can send me a picture of your bloody finger from dialing all day. Don't come back to the tribe without an appointment. That's your job.
And I think one of the big to me the best things that you have going for you as far as a coaching experience that I've had is your availability. I mean, I've never met a coach so good who is so available, that is responsive at all times. Is that intentional, or is that just because you just love it so much? And what tell us more about why you're so accessible, where other coaches are like, this is my time slot, this is what we have, and this is what we do.
Gordon and I, and now Sydney Folan, consider this a partnership with the people who are fortunate enough to coach. I coach Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Friday through Monday, everybody can call me. On average, my clients call me once, twice, or thrice outside of their coaching call. We consider it a partnership. It's not a 30-minute training call. Text me. I'm working with a gentleman right now. We're developing 185 houses. 151 to maybe 153 will cover the entire cost. And he will own the remaining 34 as rentals at $3,000 a month. He will make $100,000 a month every month for the rest of his life in this 3-year project. He calls me almost every other day because we're working through some of the challenges in that development. We help people with investments. We help people who start property management companies. It's not a 30-minute training call. I'm one of the few people who was a coach who went into real estate who also coaches. I coached this wonderful group of young men for lacrosse, and we played, and I coached them, and they played for a national championship at the high school level. Coaching is what I do. And I also sold 4,500 homes, so I have a little bit of experience selling houses as well.
4,500 homes is a lot of homes, and
Yeah,
wish in their career they can get to that level. I think with 4,500 homes comes with a strong mindset. Would you agree that your mindset is the sharpest and nobody can ever derail you from positive thoughts.
Yeah, there was a quote I heard about 20 years ago, and I've heard it many times since. I'm going to clean it up. And it said, having a successful business is sort of like being pregnant. Everybody says, congratulations. Nobody knows how many times you got screwed to get there. And that's what it's like to be a professional. I would set 400 plus listing appointments a year and only go on 200. 200 would cancel for a variety of reasons. I canceled them, they canceled me, they sold before I got out there. It takes a strong mindset to know that every other appointment you make gets canceled. And out of 200, I would take 125. And 33% wouldn't hire me, partly because commissions are negotiable. I charge 7%. And I give away 2 up till July 15th of this year. Then we don't give away any. Now, but I wouldn't get hired. And out of 125, 115 would sell. I would do 25 buyer sales. My buyer agent would do 60. We do 200 plus closings, some year 400. But we would do 200 closings just like clockwork, because every day we'd set 1 or 2 qualified listing appointments and everything else will work out. So yeah, the mindset is simple, because once you have the skills, Rich, well, can you imagine playing basketball against Michael Jordan? Would he fear you one-on-one?
Absolutely.
Could you imagine playing golf with Tiger Woods, Dean? Would he fear playing golf with you other than getting hit with your ball?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, exactly. All those mulligans. Sure.
When you're really good at, and I'm going to give you guys a hint, when you're really good at closing, the money comes easy. All the money's in learning how to close. Because once you know you can close for appointments, anybody who's thinking about selling will give you one.
Yeah, but hold on. Wait a minute, Steve. I know there's going to be agents that are watching this. They're going to say, well, don't you need to understand the prospect, understand their needs, understand where they're coming from before you can meet them and qualify them? What's the whole, isn't this whole system of prospecting, pre-qualifying, and then you go on the appointment? I mean, what do you mean you're going to close all the time? What does that mean?
So I coach these 2 mics, and I asked the older Mike to role play with the younger Mike. After 2 weeks, the older Mike calls me and says, I can't prospect. I can't role play with the younger Mike. Why? He closes too quick. What do you mean? I mean, he's barely into the sentences. He's already asking for appointments. I like to go through an entire script before I close. I said, well, you've been doing real estate for 25 years. You've never done more than 75 deals a year. This guy's been in real estate 18 months and did 92 his first full calendar year. Maybe you need to change. Here's a hint. Make the appointment, then see if you want to go.
That's the key right there.
So many of us go through everything trying to see, do I ask for it? Do I ask for it? Do I ask for it? When really, if they give you an appointment, doesn't the vault of information open up after they give you the appointment?
Yes.
And then you can decide whether you want to go or not.
Mm-hmm.
And that's being able to be a good prospector, right? Being able to, for you to choose your what do they say? Your standards, right? Being able to have certain standards. Am I going to go on this appointment, or is this appointment too far? And then guess what? Then you can maybe delegate that potential appointment you don't want, let somebody else have the burden of that, and then you collect a nice little referral fee.
Yeah, you use the word delegate. I say sell it. Yeah. I've sold lots of appointments I didn't want to go on, but Roger Staubach owned a commercial company, a real estate company in Dallas after he finished playing with the Dallas Cowboys. And one of his speeches, he said, give me a great closer over a great prospector any day. You can always teach a closer to prospect, but you can't always teach a prospector to close.
Mm.
Once you know how to close, it's just all math. The average person moves every 10 years. So one of the people you're talking to won't be there next year. We know that most people know 90 days in advance that they're going to sell. Yes?
Absolutely.
How many 90-day periods are there in a year?
4.
Every 40th person I'm talking to is going to sell their house in the next 90 days. Through learning how to close, I can identify them and make the appointment.
And that, guys, right there, that's 10,000, was that 40,000 hours of coaching and understanding exactly what to do just by that little tidbit. What would you say that for somebody who is a prospector and doesn't know how to close, what would you say to that particular person? Just one thing for them to look at. Ask better questions, or is it listen better? Like what would you say? Or actually
Well,
even
first of all,
ask for the business?
let's deal with the listening. Almost everyone is not a listener, they're waiting to speak. We
Absolutely.
barely ask the client, so what caused you to put your house, take your house off the market? And we're reading our next question. We're not even listening. Their breathing, their tonality, their pacing will all tell you what they're really thinking. The words mean very little. You have to listen to the extra part, but you have to be a listener. Number two, a close has a time and date. And the shorter the close, the faster you can do them. I make this joke all the time that I'm married to a wonderful woman. We've been married over 20 years. For Mrs. Powers to find Mr. Powers attractive is not going to take one good glass of quality wine. I got to get 5 shots of tequila in her about an hour. I get 5 shots of tequila in Mrs. Powers in 1 hour. I'm looking pretty good. I'd give her one really good glass of wine, nothing. And so many of the people that we start coaching have one great close. It's 4, 5, 6 sentences long. And when that one doesn't work, and the first one hardly ever does, they got nothing. But if you close on somebody 5 times, they almost always say no to the first and second. Maybe on the third, possibly on the fourth. By the fifth, if they want to sell, they give you the appointment. The key is the 5 closes. You want to role play it, Rich?
Absolutely. Let's go.
So, Rich, that's exactly why we need to meet. See you tonight at 5.
I'm not available tonight at
Of
5.
course, you're barely home from your job. See you at 6.
6? No, I can't do it. I need to speak to my wife.
You know what? You're probably having dinner. Let's make it 7.
Steve, I like your persistence, but yeah, I'm definitely gonna be eating dinner. I'm probably not gonna be home yet, but I'm not gonna spring my wife.
Well, of course not. We don't want to upset your wife. Let's do this. Let's meet at 8 o'clock at night tonight. You check with your wife, and if that time doesn't work, we can always reschedule. Rich, see you tonight at 8.
Steve, today, absolutely not today. Let me go home and talk to her, and we'll take it from there.
You're right. Today's Monday. It's a horrible day. Let's meet tomorrow night at 7.
You're persistent, Steve. You're persistent.
I'll see you tomorrow night at 7.
Absolutely. Okay.
And who does this work on, Rich?
Everybody, actually.
No, it works on somebody who wants to sell.
Oh, yeah, a motivated client.
And
Absolutely.
who does it
Everybody.
never work on?
An unmotivated client.
Guys, listen to me carefully. Never let the reaction of an unmotivated seller determine your future behavior. We know that 1 out of 40 is going to sell. 39 people have no desire to sell. I can't let those 39 stop me from finding the one.
Hmm.
And you
What's your-
notice, Rich,
Steve-
that I changed it from
Yeah.
why you should meet with me, and I tried to change the paradigm to let's meet at this time. So what's easier to find, Rich? A reason to meet with Steve Powers or a time to meet?
The time to meet.
That's a piece of cake.
So, Steve, you have a pretty loaded schedule from what I understand with all the businesses that you have, working with, Watson Powers to, doing multiple trainings and everything, right? I feel like a lot of agents out there have a problem with time management. What is your advice on time management for agents that are looking at this and looking at you and saying, okay, Steve has all these successful businesses. How do I become more like Steve? And what should I do to get those priorities in check? And what are you following day to day for you to learn or have learned how to have a very strategic day and week?
It comes down to your desire and schedule. There's nothing new here. If you became an attorney, you'd be working 75 hours a week. If you became a doctor, you'd be working 75 to 80 hours a week. If you opened your own restaurant, you'd be working 80, 90 hours a week. For whatever reason, people come into real estate and they think they can show up at 9, leave at 4:30 to get ahead of traffic, and they go home early on Thursday because they're showing a house Saturday. That's not a career, that's a job. So for me personally, I do two things. Either I'm making a lot of money or I'm having a lot of fun. This morning, I got up at 5 like I normally do, left at 5:30. My son and I went an hour away. We went fishing. I was fishing till noon today with my son on Kerr Reservoir. Came back and I'll be working till 8 o'clock tonight on the things I need to do. This wonderful podcast and other things I have to do. If I'm not having fun, I'm making money. I don't have any downtime. I don't do any obligatory things. I'm not going to some third cousin's barbecue I don't know 50 miles out of town so I can see people I haven't talked to in 20 years. Either I'm having lots of fun or I'm making lots of money. And you delegate everything. When you make enough money, you shouldn't cut your own grass because you should use that time to make more money or have more fun. When you start to make a little more money, you shouldn't clean your own house. We have a person comes in twice a week, changes our linen, costs a couple $100. Folks, if you're making $1 million a year, you're making $1,900 an hour prospecting. Why would you want to wash your own sheets? Now, you want to make a ton of money? Work 3 nights a week. It's light out till 8:30. Work 3 nights a week. Work every Saturday if your religion allows. Work every Sunday night for 2 hours. Everybody's home on Sunday night. Treat this like a career, not a job. And once you treat it like a career, Chris Rock said it. People with the job look at the clock and go, oh, is it ever going to be 5 o'clock? And people with a career look up at the clock and go, it's already 5 o'clock. I have so much more to do. Treat it like a career. I treat coaching like a career. That's why, Dean, everybody's accessible to me. You call me all sorts of hours. Rich, you've called me. I pick up the phone. If I don't, I call you back because it's my career to be a great coach.
If you had to take a time machine back, Steve, for yourself, and I mean, let's call it like 22, 23 years old, your actual younger self, picture yourself, Steve Powers back then, knowing what you know now, what are you telling the Steve Powers in your 20s then?
Man, most of the activities you did for your first 5 years of real estate were realtor related, not salesperson related. That I got caught into joining the board and being on the committees and going on office tour and going to new construction sites for a chance to win 2 plane tickets and having lunch with other realtors who weren't buying and selling from me. If I was to go back, I would say, get on a path for your 5-year vision. It's your journey, and only bring people that help you get to your journey, not that want to ride your coattails, because a lot of people want to ride successful people's coattails. I get a call every 2 months, Steve Powers, I want to take you to lunch and pick your brain. Why would I want to give up $2,000 a prospecting hour to have lunch with somebody because they want to pick my brain for no purpose? I got a wife who has all my money and 9 guns. She expects me to work, not have lunch with somebody who's not propelling my career. Choose who you hang around with wisely. Watch this podcast from these guys. These guys are inviting some really cool people, not me, mind you, but some really cool people on this show. You need to listen to what these people are saying and stop listening to the people in the office who sell one home every 4 months.
That's some great advice. I have one question and for you before I ask my final question is, a lot of agents also ask me, and I've been hearing throughout Phone Warriors, is when you're out there prospecting day in and day out, your phone starts ringing, but sometimes you don't know who it is. Are you always picking up your phone?
Yes. Steve Powers, how may I help you? You called my number. I'm on the do not call list. My apologies. Is this the number that we allegedly called? Yes. We scrub our list periodically. I'll make a note. We will never call you again. Have a good day. And then we hang that one up. Other times, hey, I missed a call from this number. Yeah, Steve Powers, eXp Real Estate. We just sold another home in Westlake Estates. I assume that's where you're living. Yeah, who told you I was selling? They knew who you were when they called you back. That's their way of saying, tell me I'm pretty. Tell me I want to sell my house with you. When they call you back, it's an invitation for an appointment. They know who you are.
Love that. And do you believe in calling from your personal number, or how all these people try to hide behind burner numbers and all these other phone numbers out there? What's your perspective with that?
Well, I'm not sure, Rich, it's everyone's hiding behind the numbers because of the technology. AT&T, Verizon, and everyone else. When you use your personal number too much, the algorithms say it could be a spam number, and all of a sudden you're being spam blocked. So a lot of our great clients buy numbers, and they're not hiding. What they do is they rotate the numbers every 20 to 45 minutes so that their numbers aren't spam blocked. We're just trying to stay one fingernail ahead
Hear that, guys?
of the technology.
That is prime information right there, because I get a lot of DMs, I get a lot of questions, and it's always like, "Oh, what number are you calling from?" Or "Are you answering your phone?" I'm like, "Of
It's
course,
always the same questions, right?
we're in sales. Why wouldn't I be answering my phone?" Oh,
Yeah.
like, how do I know if it was a circle prospect, or if it was an expired, or if it was a FISBO, or if it was whatever it might be? Hey, I'm a local real estate agent. How may I help you? Or did your
If
house?
somebody is upset, you can handle it because you're a professional. But we can't miss the ones that are not upset, worrying about the ones that are upset. And of course, for most of you, you may not be aware of this huge laws changing in January. So with these multi-line dialers, you need to pay attention. If you want, give me a call. But basically, what it means is that instead of having three lines going ring, 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 you have to physically hang up and call the next one. They want a physical touch. And so we have ways to, within the legal ramifications of the laws, work with technology to keep doing legally calls to as many as people as possible. And the other thing, guys, is if you're not door knocking, you're missing a tremendous amount of business. There's 20 houses on the street. How many pick up out of 20? Anybody?
It could be 1 out of 20. Could be
Who's
4 out of
talking to the other 19? See, I
Mm.
got this little wedding ring. This joint's called a knuckle. It's a magic knuckle. When I do this, people magically appear at the front door.
20.
And right now, for most of the US, it's light till 8, 8:30 at night. It's nice out. Go meet the people. Now, does it take guts? Sure. I actually describe it. Take a whole call and tell you what to wear and where to put things. You need a door knocking outfit. Most of our clients walk around with a white and red letter sold sign, got a visual to go with their audio. But if you're not door knocking, then you're not talking to the 19 people who aren't picking up.
Love
Yeah.
that. Love that, Steve. All right, Steve. You've been a sought after coach. You're a family man. You enjoy to have fun. What is your legacy that you wish that when you're beyond your time on your tombstone, what do you want your tombstone to be engraved with? Like, what is your personal legacy that you work so hard and endless for?
The first thing I want to be known as a great dad. I worked real hard to be a great job. I've raised two wonderful young men. They're now 30 plus. They have common sense and they're not a burden to society. Boy, I think I did a great job. If I can raise two boys that have common sense and they don't take from society, they give, I'm doing well. Number two, I've been a great husband, and I don't mean I've done everything right. I just wake up every morning grateful that someone has chosen to spend their life with me, and I try to be a great husband. Am I always great? No. There are days I know I'm not that good, but I'm trying. I want to be known as a great dad and a great husband. Then after that, a bunch of people who I've helped within their life are making their communities better. I've coached a lot of people who went from 25 deals to 300, and their quality of service is so high, every year 300 families are better. So what do I want to say in the third thing? Made the world a hair better. That's all. I mean, honest to gosh, if you care about your family, when you go to work, make appointments. Don't BS it. Can you imagine your children sitting in your office all day watching what you're doing all day? Would you do the crap you're doing now? So go to work, do your job as if your spouse, your children, or somebody important to you was watching you. You'd be a different person all day long, wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And Steve, what's the best way for someone to find or to contact you just to get information about what you guys are doing?
My phone number is 757-719-4329. 757-719-4329. Steve at watsonpowers.com. People call me all the time. I pick up and they're always surprised. You picked up? Why wouldn't I pick up? I'm in the selling coaching business. Guys, you can't be an agent and hide from your phone. But if you work with us, I'll teach you how to turn your phone off when you get home at night so you can spend time with your family. Because everything we do theoretically is for our loved ones and our family. Why do we want to call home, have this darn thing ringing at 6:30? Your daughter is asking you an all important life question. You go, wait a second, I have a text, excuse me, from an appraiser for a deal I have nothing to do with. Let me answer this appraiser and then we'll talk about your big life problem. No, we can do better than that. Work when you're working and be off when you're off.
Awesome.
Wise words.
Thank you so much, Steve.
Thank you, sir. Steve,
It's been awesome.
take care.